Hi, this is Dr. Leroy Alloways, and welcome to another episode of Grade School for Adults. This is the first episode of fourth grade math for adults. And today I'm going to be taking a look at the textbooks for fourth grade, primarily the enVision math books. And I'm going to take a look at three different ones. Tomorrow is the first day of class for my twin fourth graders, and we're in Florida, so naturally I'm going to be taking a look at some Florida editions. And so the first one I'm going to take a look at is the enVision Math 2 Volume 1. All three of these are by Savas, and if you take a look at my episode on apps, episode 2, I talk about Savas and how to get to the Savas reader and on Savas Realize, which is very important because that's one of the places I'm going to be looking at the books, because I don't have my daughter's fourth grade textbook. But so the first textbook I'm looking at here, this is volume 1 for semester, and this is for the Common Core edition for the state of Texas. And another one I'm going to take a look at is similar. This is a version for the state of Florida. The interesting thing with this particular version is it doesn't have the standards in it, the Florida best standards. And the last version I'm going to take a look at, or the other version, the third version I'm going to take a look at, is the online version here on Savas Realize. And again, we see 5 different versions of the, or 6 different versions of the math book here. I think they actually repeat 2 of them right here. But this one is the enVision Florida Best Mathematics 2023 Student Edition 4th grade. So this is the online edition of their physical textbook. And I will start that right on up. And what I want to take a look at is the introductions for all of these. We have the topics right here, we can see, but I'm going to compare the introductions to all of them and so on. Now, what we see here, first off, all of them they start with, before we get to the table of contents, they all have digital resources where they talk about Savas Realize, what you can get off of Savas Realize, and so on. Now, so we have the table of contents, and this is again, the Florida edition right here, the contents. The first topic is place values, numbers to 1 million. We see that there's 14 different topics. Now, if I go to either one of the other 2, the physical books that I have, the Texas version, and I bring that page up, we have the content. And what we find here is we have 16 different topics, and they're slightly different in wording. And the first topic here is the generalized place value understanding. And again, if we look at the Florida version, it just says place value. Now, if I go to the Texas version, this is what we see, and it's identical again to the other Florida textbook, but minus one thing, and I'll show that in a second. So again, on topic 1 is generalized place value understanding, and interesting enough is the first sections is numbers through 1 million, and the topic on the online version is numbers to 1 million. But the difference between this particular, the Texas book, and this particular book here is this one doesn't have the standards. This one has the Common Core standards for Texas, and that's what all these particular numbers here represent. The Florida version, if I look at its first page, it has the Florida best standards. They're slightly different, and so Florida doesn't use Common Core. They say they don't use Common Core, but in reality, the Florida best standards and the Common Core standards are very, very, very similar. Now, what the place value, what the first topic is really a review. The first 2-3 topics are really a review of 3rd grade math. And so what we have here, but with a twist, so they add a little bit. Now, what they add here is they talk about period. And for example, the ones period. And 3rd grade math, they always talked about the ones place, the tens place, and the hundreds place. They might have mentioned the thousands place. But now we have the ones period, the thousands period, the millions period. Each period is separated by a comma. After the millions periods, or we have the billion periods, we have the trillion periods, and it just goes on and on and on. Every three lines is, or three numbers is a comma, comma, three numbers, comma, comma, comma. And you'll see, the repeating trend: one, tens, hundreds, ones, tens, hundreds, one, ten, hundreds. And that's, one, 10, 100 billion, one, 10, 100 trillion. And so there is, so that's what we see here. And it's typically just a review. And if I look at the Texas version down here, we have compare whole numbers, round whole numbers, place value relationships, and so on. And back over to the Florida, we have place value relationships. We have compare whole numbers, round whole numbers to the nearest 10, hundreds, or thousands. And so, it's just the wording is a little bit different, but more or less they're identical. And so I'm just I'll scroll on through, and again, we'll take a look at see what the differences are. So on Texas, on topic 2, we have fluently add and subtract multi-digit whole numbers. This is definitely a review of 3rd grade. They have some mental math, subtract whole numbers. We see it, they're carrying, they're adding and carrying. And so, again, a review of 3rd grade math. Now, if we could jump over to the topic 2 on the Florida edition, they're not doing add and subtract multi-digit whole numbers because they did that in 3rd grade. They are doing multiplication and division basic facts. Now, the most important thing you can do if your kids are not in school or are not starting school yet and they're going into the 4th grade is to have them, they should be memorizing and working on the 12 by 12 multiplication table. Every combination, like 6 times 7 is 42, 12 times 12 is 144. They should be working on that multiplication table, getting it down. And that's what this partly is here. This is the multiplication table of 5 times 3 is 15. And if you have the multiplication table one way, you can take it backwards. So you can say 15 equals 15 divided by 3 equals 5. And that's what we have here. And what you're learning here, you're learning the basic factors, or some of the basic factors of the number 15. On 12, for example, you have 3 and 4, that's a factor. You have 12 and 1, that's a factor. You have 6 and 2, those are all factors of 12. So if your kids are not, if you have 4th graders or incoming 4th graders and they're not in school yet, I would be multiplying, or I'd be having them work on multiplying all the time. Okay, so let's jump ahead to Texas and see what Texas has next. And Texas has next using strategies and properties to multiply 1-digit numbers. So it kind of looks like regrouping, but really what they're doing is they are grouping this into different groups, but they're not regrouping it. It just shows you how the multiplication factors can be grouped. If you have 245 times 3, you got the ones digits. These are the ones digits. These are the tens digits. These are the 100 digits. It takes you back to topic 1. And so 3 times 5, you got 15. 3 times 4 is 12, but they're tens. So since it's a 10 digit, so there's a 0 behind it, and 3 times 2 is hundreds, and so the 2 zeros behind it. So this is looking at the place values that you learned in that they reviewed in topic 1, and it's going over basic multiplication. Now, if I switch over to Florida's book, and what we see exactly the same thing. So they're doing the same thing on here. And the one thing what's nice about the Texas one, by reviewing the addition of multi-digit numbers, they have this partial products, how to sum those up. That's what they're reviewing on the previous page. Florida, you don't really have to review it. They're just going to throw it right at you. You are going to have to add multi-digit numbers. Okay. Now, another strategy is when you are multiplying 2-digit numbers. And we see that here on the Texas edition. You have 2-digit numbers. We have 12 times 15. 12 times 15, what you can do is you can put a grid out, and then you can isolate 10 by 10, so we know that's 100, and then you can subdivide the rest of the grid into areas, and so we know that this length is 10, so we have 10 times 5, and then we have the remainders down here of 2, so we have 2 times 5 and 2 times 10, and then just sum up all those and you have that. So this is one way of doing it, and if we take a look at the Florida version, we see the exact same thing. Now, there are the same procedures are going through, the same subtopics more or less are true on both of these, just different worded and different standards as we see. So taking a look on Texas, since I have the book here, we're going to jump over to topic 5. Topic 5 is using strategies and properties to divide by 1-digit numbers. Okay, now dividing by 1-digit numbers, what you're doing is you're regrouping as much as you possibly can. So what we see here is we have 4 goes on the 5 one time on the tens digit, and then we have 15 left. 4 goes on the 15 3 times 12 and a remainder of 3. So you're grouping this up, but it's the first time the students actually see a remainder. So yes, they can multiply 4 times 13. My kids, instead of the 12 by 12 table, I have them doing the 13 by 13 table. And so 4 times 13, they got 52 there, and then the remainder 3 you're adding to 3. So they're doing division by sharing. They're interpreting the remainder using partial quotients, and so all these different methods throughout here. And when we get to this, I'll go into these detail on my daily lessons on 4th grade math, and we see exactly the same thing over here. Maybe a slightly different change throughout topic names, but it's the same thing. And since I'm up here on the Florida one, we will take a look at the next topic. And the next topic here is topic 6. And again, it's kind of like regrouping in that what you're doing is, and there's also a little bit of division here, what it is how many times do you need 3 to get to 42? And this is one of the reasons why I say learning the multiplication table is really nice, because if you know the multiplication table, you know that 42 is 6 times 7. So you know that those are 2 factors. 2 other factors are 2 and 21. That's one set of factors. And another set of factors is 3. Now, again, one factor is 3, and the other factor we'll see in a second. 6 times 7 is 42. If we take 6 and divide it up into 2 and 3, then we have the 2 then multiplies to 7, so that's 14. So it's 3 times 14 is also 42. So if you know the multiplication table, you can do some of these mentally, or just with a little writing out on scribbling out some notes on a piece of paper. Now, if we take a look over here at the Florida topic, the Texas topic, we see this basically the same topic 6. And so again, different ways of wording these things, and looking at solve more multi-step problems. Multi-step problems, you see this a lot in multi-step problems, like so-and-so bought 6 times 7 or 7 crates of 6 toys each. How many toys did they have? 42. He then divided them into groups of 3. How many groups of 3 did they have? So a multi-step problem like that is something that you're learning in when they mention multi-step problems. So then we come over here, topic 7, and topic 7 is factors and multiplying. And again, if I take a look at Florida, we see factors and multiplying. Actually, they say number patterns, factors, and divisibility. And so they have described it a little bit differently. One of the things is they mention patterns and divisibility by 2, 5, and 10. So really what they're doing is they're talking about skip counting, but they're looking at it backwards. But skip counting 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, or 5, 10, 15, 20, or 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. patterns divisible by 3 and 9. So 3, 6, 9, and things that are divisible by 9. So there's a lot of different rules in there, and what they're also looking at is they're looking at primes and composite numbers. We have primes and composite numbers as well. And by the way, if you're watching this, and what is the first prime number? The first prime number is not 1. People think it's 1 because 1 is divisible by 1 and only divisible by 1. But to be a prime number, it has to have 2 factors. So the first prime number is 2. 2 and 1, those are the 2 factors. 1 and 1 are not 2 factors. They're 1 factor. Repeated. Okay, now at the end of, this is the end of the first semester. Now, what I want to point out here is that what we have again is we have the Common Core standards. We have the Common Core standards right here. If I go to the Florida book, at the end of chapter 15, or I believe it's 15 or chapter 14, they have the Florida best standards. So, and both books have the standards. If you want to know more about the standards and what are the things that your child should know by the time they end 3rd grade, the standards are, or excuse me, by the time they end 4th grade, my kids are going to kill me. By the time you're in 4th grade, if you want to know what the standards are, you got the Common Core standards and the best standards, and depending on what textbook you are using. Again, so this is what your, the first 7 topics are what your child is going to learn in the first semester. Then they'll switch over to a different book. And my goal is on every one of these topics, I'm going to have a video about every single one of these. If you like my videos, please like. If you want to subscribe, please subscribe. If you have any questions that you put in the comments, I will answer. And if there's a suggestion in any of the comments, I will gladly take that to heart. Every one of these videos, I record myself. I do the editing myself. I have I'm in my kids' playroom. Like if you want to see my kids' playroom, or actually my kids' study room, I will gladly show you what they're doing in here. And again, please share this with anybody you want, any friends. I do this because I'm a teacher, but I'm a stay-at-home dad. And I love teaching, and I love mathematics. And so I really want to get into showing you what the mathematics is all about at grade school level, and why you see things that are different than the way you probably learned it. And if you're an old guy like me who went to grammar school back in the 60s, you're probably scratch your head a little bit saying, why is this going on here now? And believe me, there was a few times last semester I pulled out like, what are they talking about? And so this is the reason why I'm doing these videos, is what are they talking about? If I couldn't figure it out, I know a lot of parents couldn't figure it out. Again, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Thank you very much. Bye.